Have you ever noticed that just when you begin to elevate yourself internally, when your mind quiets, your heart aligns and you reach deeper levels of connection with the subtle field of existence, something unexpected happens right after a sincere energetic elevation, such as an authentic prayer, a deep meditation, or a state of high vibration. A strange wave manifests in coherent thoughts, intense desires, impulses that appear out of nowhere, and that often do not correspond to your intention or your conscience. Wake up, but this is not a coincidence. You are not just experiencing a physical impulse. You are being influenced by an opposing vibrational field. What you feel is an energetic shock, an attempt to destabilize your frequency, a disturbance of your spiritual signal, and the closer you get to the source, or as Tesla preferred to call it, cosmic intelligence, the more sensitive you become, and the more sensitive you become, the more dangerous you are for systems that operate in low vibration. This disturbance that occurs after you, the connection is not random, it's strategic. It's a dark spiritual technology programmed to capture your attention and lower your internal vibration. You think it's just desire, just flesh, just a biological impulse. It's not a manipulated frequency. The entire universe vibrates. You are made of pulses of light energy in the form of consciousness. But there are silent and intelligent forces that study your emotional cycles, your mental frequencies, your affective memories, and your repetitive patterns. They know where to attack, they know what wave to emit, and they know that if they can disconnect you for a few minutes, change your frequency, they slow down your expansion process. They don't persecute you for your weakness. They observe you because you vibrate differently. You are an unusual frequency amidst the collective noise. You carry something unique within you, an energetic field with the potential to change environments, influence consciousness, and expand atmospheres. If this makes sense to you, write in the comments, "I vibrate outside the system." This is more than just a phrase. It's an energetic affirmation, that a new signal to the universe. Keep in mind that the greatest disturbances don't occur when you're distracted. They appear precisely at the moment you begin to energetically align with your purpose. The energy trying to distract you is intelligent. It doesn't act arbitrarily. It operates with precise spiritual algorithms based on everything that has hurt you, everything that has triggered you in the past, everything that still vibrates at a low frequency within you. It presents itself as pleasure, but its true intention is to disconnect your soul from the higher network of consciousness. You are at war, yes, but this war is not physical but vibrational. It takes place in the invisible field that surrounds your psyche, your emotions, your sexuality, and your cellular memory. Tesla knew that to understand the secrets of the universe, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, and this is precisely what you are involved in. A silent struggle for control of your life force energy. You were created to generate light, spread clean energy, and transmit an authentic spiritual signature to the world. But every time you connect with low vibrational patterns, lonely urges, recurring thoughts, fantasies, disconnected from the soul, you activate layers of distortions, and you know what's going on. The field begins to vibrate. Your perception becomes confused. Your intuition loses its sharpness. Your spiritual focus is diluted. Comment here if you have ever felt this. My energy dropped right after a spiritual connection. Maybe you have never understood why the body in its natural state is a conductor of divine energy. Longing is far from being a negative thing. It is a current as powerful as electricity, but when activated outside of time, purpose, and coherence, ceases to be a conduit of creation and becomes an instrument of disruption. It's like an overloaded electrical circuit. The system deactivates, the lights go out. You are not weak. You are sensitive, and your sensitivity is what connects you to the higher dimensions of existence. But that same sensitivity requires awareness, because the higher your frequency, the more complex the disturbances become. It's not just about resisting, it's about recognize the signs, interpret the codes, and raise your vibration with intention. You are being tested because you are about to cross an energetic threshold, and every dimensional transition requires inner stability. You cannot move forward if you are carrying fragments of incompatible frequencies. You must be clean, free, and aligned. If you feel yourself crossing this field, take a deep breath now and write, "I tune my consciousness to a new frequency." This symbolic act aligns the intention of spirit in the field. Vibrate and give way to what comes in the next phase. Have you ever wondered why certain impulses appear just when you're about to advance spiritually, as if an invisible but precise force knows exactly where to start, what frequency, and which memory to influence? This isn't an illusion, but rather energetic engineering. It's intelligence applied to the invisible field. Every time you activate a new layer of inner light, a resistance movement occurs in the field around you. And this movement, it doesn't come from outside, but is activated by resonance with what still vibrates within you. Sexual desire, for example, is not a system error. It's part of your original purpose. It's like an electric current designed to create connection, expansion, and continuity. But when it's activated inharmoniously, it creates an emotional short circuit. You were programmed with a creative spark. This energy, when aligned, opens portals of sacred connection, emotional synchronicity, and spiritual depth. But when it deviates from its purpose, that same energy can be used against you. What was once power becomes noise. What was once a conduit becomes a prison. And what was once pleasure becomes distortion. The body still responds, but the soul is silent. The energy circulates, but the field vibrates at a low frequency. You feel relief, but soon emptiness invades you. And that's the point. It's not just about the action. It's about the invisible exchange that happens every time you give in to an impulse that doesn't align with your purpose. You send out a signal, and that signal connects you to a frequency that doesn't serve you. It holds you, but it drains you. That's why after solitary pleasure comes the awkward silence. The mind hesitates. Concentration falters. The soul withdraws. It's as if you opened an energetic window where something valuable could escape, and in its place only the shadow of what seems so intense remains. What almost no one understands is that this is not weakness, but spiritual technology being used against you. It's energetic manipulation at your most vulnerable point. It's not because you are weak, but because you are a fertile field. You are a transmitter, and any system that knows this will try to disrupt your signal. This desire was designed to create, to engender life, and propel you to higher states of energetic fusion. However, today it's used as a weapon, as a programmed distraction, as a detour. Have you ever noticed that every time you decide to advance spiritually, someone from your past appears, a memory resurfaces, a trigger is activated, a desire invades without rational logic, because the system knows you're about to break through, about to cross a barrier, vibrating, and at that moment the attack comes, but it comes disguised. It doesn't come as a direct confrontation. It comes as relief, as pleasure, as emotional reward, and if you're not careful, you confuse reaction with sabotage. That's why after a click comes the weight. After the impulse comes the regret. After the fantasy comes the vibration. But be careful, it's not about moralism. It's about energy preservation. You are giving up something that is your sacred vital in exchange for a moment of escape. And the one who feeds on it is not you. It's the system that tries to keep you asleep. If you give in, you allow a frequency of confusion to emerge, and with it come the symptoms: doubt, procrastination, guilt, insecurity, loss of identity, circular thoughts, and a subtle distancing from your being. But you feel it, you know it, even without understanding everything rationally. Your body senses it. Your soul denounces it, and that's why this fight hurts, because it's not just yours, it's ancestral, it's dimensional. It's a battlefield where your conscience, your freedom, and your are at stake. Legacy: you were born to be a conduit of clean frequency. You are a structure destined to conduct light, transform environments, and change atmospheres with your presence. But for that to happen, you must be complete. You must reconnect your circuits. You must take control of what enters and leaves through your mind, your body, your soul, and that only happens when you understand that it is not about your pleasure. It is about your vibrational field. Every temptation is an attempt to tune you with something less so as not to destroy yourself but it's to make you go around in circles. And that's why it seems so subtle, because it was built from your emotional history, in your energy tree, in the records of your unconscious memory. It was designed like a code, like a spiritual algorithm. But now you're beginning to see, to realize that what seemed like weakness was actually a sign of a sensitive field. And a sensitive field isn't weakness. It's sacred territory. If you feel this text confronts you, but also liberates you right here, reconfigure my field. Because this small gesture, even if silent, can emit a new frequency and activate the version of you that the system wanted to silence. In the next part, we will reveal why attacks intensify just before your next level of expansion and what is really behind the spiritual pressure that many mistake for failure. You are ready to cross the invisible field and become unreachable. Have you noticed how everything seems to wobble when you decide to change the vibration by positioning yourself? Coming out of stagnation, something in the field stirs. It is as if by emitting a new frequency, you are disturbing invisible structures that were content with their old pattern. And it is not an illusion. It is real when the spiritual field recognizes that your energetic signature is changing. Opposing forces organize themselves. You decide to silence the mind and the sounds multiply. You begin a purification process, and old desires arise with unusual force. You sharpen your consciousness, and out of nowhere, a memory, a figure, a distraction, everything appears again, as if I wanted to pull you back. This is vibrational resistance, a clear sign that you are about to cross a boundary that separates noise from clarity, dynamism from presence, chaos from alignment. And the strangest thing is that the cleaner your field becomes, the finer the disturbances become. They no longer appear with a grotesque appearance. They present themselves as comfort, as familiarity, as relief. But they are only the final manifestation of a system that is trying to prevent your leap. You feel the call, you are ready to expand, but the pressure begins to grow. And grow not because you are failing, but because you are vibrating on the brink of liberation. At this point, the system panics, not because it fears your past, but because it fears what you will become. You are no longer who you were, but you have not yet fully manifested who you were born to be. And it is in this space between the old and the new where the most intense battles are fought. It is the vibrational void. It is the zone where the field reorganizes, and any reorganization creates instability. But you must know this. Instability isn't a fall, but a sign of progress. That's why everything seems to fall apart just as you begin to ascend. It's because your field is collapsing. It's no longer part of your new frequency. You think you're being attacked, but in reality you're being filtered out. Unseen forces are trying to prevent you from reaching the next level of consciousness. And to do so, they activate old codes, old desires, old habits, old voices. They don't have to destroy you. They just have to convince you that you are still who you are. The old version, that you're not ready, that you'll fall again. But this is only a reflection of something much larger. Your field adapts to what arrives, and what arrives is sacred. It's exceptional and powerful. When you access certain dimensions of the mind of clarity and clean energy, you become untouchable, not because anything tries to reach you, but because you become unreachable, because you're no longer on the same frequency as before. Think like Tesla. A receiver only picks up what it's tuned to as you continue to tune. Your thoughts. Low, lonely urges, repeated guilt. You'll still get interference. But if you deliberately change the frequency, the signal changes, reality changes. So next time everything will seem harder. Don't worry, look, adjust your vibration and carry on. If you're being pulled, it's because something's trying to stop you from flying. And here's something important. The portal to the next level never comes with clear warnings. It comes in the form of pressure, confusion, silent test. Many give up 1 meter before the bend. They revert to old patterns, reactivate addictions, separate themselves, and believe they weren't born to break free. But you know it's a lie. You were born to transcend vibrational limits, to radiate light where there was only noise, to be a conduit of pure energy in a dense reality. If you've come this far, it's because you already feel this transition is near. The question is, will you give up, or will you resist the pressure until it becomes momentum? Don't fall into the trap of the old inner voice that tells you you're too weak, too dirty, too incapable. He's only stronger now because he knows he'll be silenced once and for all. They don't attack you for being weak. They pressure you because you're too powerful to be ignored. And if this truth touches you, Write it here with awareness. I'm an expanding clean field. This is a code, and codes reprogram systems. In the next part, we'll talk about how this mischanneled energy turns into guilt, separation, and spiritual retardation, and what happens in the vibrational field when you choose a quick and realign with your source. You are about to reach the ultimate level of clarity. Have you ever noticed that after giving into an impulse, what remains is not peace, but a kind of inner disturbance, an invisible hiss, as if your field has lost stability and you have stopped being who you really are for a few moments? This feeling is not just guilt, but vibrational deterioration. You are connecting with something lower than your nature, and the body still responds with pleasure, but the soul screams silently. And why does this happen? Because in essence, you were created to operate at a high frequency. Your spiritual system is designed to transmit light, truth, purity, and clarity. But when you feed impulses that are not aligned with their source, your energy fragments. Imagine your mind as a magnetic field. With each wrong decision, you weaken this force and gradually begin to attract more. Guilt, confusion, repetition, and the system that watches you knows it. It no longer needs to attack you directly. It simply activates the triggers and watches you while it even sabotages their propagation. But the good news is that fields can be reconfigured, frequencies can be rebalanced, and the first step is the awakening of consciousness. It's not enough to resist. You need to understand that this desire you sometimes feel intensely and uncontrollably isn't your enemy. It's simply misdirected energy. In fact, it's one of the most powerful forms of creative energy that exists in the universe. And that's exactly what Tesla knew, that everything is energy. Frequency, vibration, and form. How you direct this energy determines not only your destiny, but also what you activate or release around you. If you suppress it, it implodes. If you give in to fantasy, it is lost. But if you transmute it, it becomes sacred fire. And this is where a powerful element comes into play: fasting. Fasting isn't about punishing the body. It's about silencing the flesh so the spirit can speak louder. It's about reducing the noise to capture the true signal. When you fast, you send a command to your energetic system. I change the source of my sustenance, and in turn yours. The field begins to recalibrate. You begin to recognize what truly resonates with your being and what was just external. Noise disguised as need. Solitude has more to offer if you consciously choose it. It is not absence, but expansion. In silence, your frequency aligns. In conscious isolation, spiritual releases occur. Away from the crowd, true inner renewal manifests. But the system knows this and therefore tries to distract you, overconnect you, and provide you with stimulating impulses. All the time, because the more you distance yourself from yourself, the easier it is to be manipulated. So don't hide from the pain. Observe it. Feel where you're getting out of control and reset. The frequency of truth frees you, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Afterward, it always brings lightness, because the truth isn't heavy, it organizes. That's why many remain stuck. They try to overcome the impulse with willpower, but they don't change the environment around them. You have to change the environment that feeds this energy, and sometimes that means when you walk away, when you break the connection, say no. Not out of weakness, but because you are restructuring yourself, eliminating interference, and reactivating your original signal. And if you have perceived the authenticity of this message, write it down intentionally. I am recalibrating my frequency. It's not a cliche, but a vibrational command. And when you consciously acknowledge it, the field responds. The invisible reorganizes, and what seemed like a struggle becomes a simple adjustment. In the final part, we'll talk about the most dangerous code of all. Shame is a silent emotion that the system uses to keep you mute, paralyzed, and distant from your true identity. By deciphering this code, you awaken the quantum warrior that has been dormant within you. You are ready to restore your original energetic signature. There is a silent, barely perceptible code that paralyzes thousands of consciousnesses. Shame doesn't scream, it whispers. It nestles in thoughts, merges with memories, and gradually distances you from who you are. It tells you that you've gone too far, that you've failed so many times, moments without return, irreparably broken. But all of this is a lie. Shame, a constant prison, and it only survives in darkness, in silence, in isolation. It wants you to believe that error is identity, that deviation is destiny, But you are not the one who hurt you or knocked you down. You are the one who gets up, even when everything says it's impossible. The enemy doesn't just want you to fall. He wants you to not tell anyone, to hide, to keep silent, because where there is no light, the field continues. Here distorted is a truth that changes everything. The most powerful mind in the universe does not reside in perfect systems. It resides in available fields. While you consider yourself incapable, the universe is only waiting for an opening while you consider yourself unworthy. The heavens are trying to remind you, you are a channel, you are a bridge, you are a healing frequency. You have already fallen, so get up and teach others to get up. You have already given in to the urge, so find your way back and light that way for others. You felt shame, turn it into compassion. The field only. It changes when someone decides to no longer hide, and when you say out loud, "My soul is not for sale," then you are not just saying words, you are radiating a frequency, and the universe reacts. Hell stirs, invisible movements, subtle chains begin to break. Because true awakening does not happen when you feel something new, but when you decide to no longer be a slave to what held you captive. That you have faced every impulse, every fall. Every hidden cry was never meant to destroy you, but to mold you, to awaken you and help. You understand once and for all that you are the warrior of the invisible field. You carry within you the code that disarms the system, and you know what it fears. It's not your strength, it's your focus. It's your unwavering resolve to continue even as you bleed. It's your decision to become a ray of healing where before there was only noise. When you accept alignment, the past loses its power. Error becomes matter, and the enemy that once manipulated you now fears even hearing your name. You are ready not to be perfect, but to be true to yourself. Walk with clarity, with purpose, and with a clean vibration. If this truth has activated something within you, something you knew already existed, but needed a boost of energy to awaken, then declare, "My soul vibrates with purpose." Write it down, affirm it, communicate it to the field. Because awakening is not an event, it is movement. It is a choice that creates waves, and you who have been attacked for so long are now beginning to become the pulse of change. You are no longer fighting to survive. You are here to transform the field. The frequency has shifted, and the universe, you are already responding. Share this message with those you know, who carry the light, but vibrate on the wrong frequency. Like, comment, and forward, because when the chosen ones remember who they are, chaos will have nowhere to hide. This is not just your battle, it's your rebirth. It's your code. It's your original vibrational signature returning to the surface. And as Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Vibrate so strongly that the darkness has no choice. Don't retreat,